For a generation that grew up valuing the provider mindset, many of us in our 60s spent our prime years building. We built homes, we built reputations, and we built security. Craig Melvin is in the thick of that building phase now. But in his pursuit of excellence, he recently confessed to a realization that often only hits us when the dust of midlife begins to settle. He spoke of the emotional logistics of marriage. We become so good at managing the schedule, who picks up the kids, how we handle the mortgage, where we go for the holidays, that we forget to manage the soul. Craig's regret isn't a lack of love, it's a lack of presence. He admitted that even when he was physically in the room with Lindsay, his mind was often 3 news cycles ahead. He was there, but he wasn't arrived. It's a confession that hits home for those of us looking back at our 40s and 50s, wondering if we traded the here and now for the next and better. The unfinished chapter, the middle years mistake. The 60 to 65 age bracket is a unique vantage point. We are at the summit, looking back at the climb. And what Craig is describing is the middle years mistake, the belief that a marriage can survive on autopilot while we focus on the external world. Craig reflected on the times Lindsay needed an emotional partner, but he showed up as a problem solver. "I thought being a good husband meant fixing things," the subtext of his confession suggests. "I didn't realize that sometimes being a good husband just means holding the space." For many men of Craig's generation, and certainly for our own, emotional vulnerability was never part of the job description. We were taught that strength was a shield, but as Craig has discovered, that shield eventually becomes a wall. His deepest regret is the time spent behind that wall, leaving a chapter of their emotional connection unfinished, unwritten, and waiting for a vulnerability he wasn't yet ready to give. The weight of the quiet years. As we navigate our early 60s, the unfinished chapter takes on a new urgency. We start to see the horizon. We realize that the time to say the things we've held back isn't someday, it's today. Craig's transparency is a reminder that it is never too late to pick up the pen. He and Lindsay have begun the hard work of emotional catching up. It's a process of acknowledging that while the career was flourishing, the intimacy may have been sidelined. This resonates with us because we are in the era of the second act. Whether you are retired or nearing it, the noise of the world is finally starting to dim. And in that silence, we are often left facing our spouse, realizing there are years of stories, hurts, and dreams that we never actually shared because we were too busy doing. Writing the new conclusion. The beauty of Craig Melvin's confession isn't in the regret itself, but in the courage to admit it while there is still time to change the ending. He's choosing to be emotionally exhausted from the work of connection rather than spiritually empty from the ease of distance. For those of us watching, the lesson is clear. A marriage isn't a trophy to be won, it's a garden to be tended. If you feel like there is an unfinished chapter in your own relationship, a conversation you've avoided for 20 years, an apology you've kept in your pocket, or a dream you haven't dared to voice, take a page from Craig's book. Strength isn't found in the absence of regret. It's found in the willingness to look at that regret and say, "I want to do better. I want to be more present. I want to finish this chapter with you." Closing thoughts. Life at 60 is about clarity. We no longer have the energy for the facades we wore at 40. We want the truth. Craig Melvin's confession is a gift to his audience, a reminder that even the most perfect lives have gaps that need filling. As the sun sets on another day, maybe it's time to ask, what is the unfinished chapter in your home, and are you brave enough to start writing it tonight? Thank you for joining us for this reflection. If Craig's story touched a nerve, please share your experiences in the comments below. How have you navigated the emotional chapters of your long-term relationships?